Hi guys, welcome to If the Gap Exists with Daphne.
And with Senna, I'd like to start this episode off by apologizing.
Oh,
I didn't believe in Ferrari. I didn't think it could happen. I didn't think they'd even get a podium. But after 2 years, we're back.
Remember, I want to start off by saying thank you, Fernando. Thank you so much for that safety car because in as much as it was going well, like it wasn't 100% guaranteed until that safety car came about. That virtual safety car. Oh my God. From that moment, I couldn't say again. I stood for the next, what was it?
I
30
can't
laps or
remember.
so.
Something like that.
I,
Yeah.
I just couldn't say. I just couldn't. Like, ah, today
Yeah. I
was,
had so much adrenaline going through me because
mm,
it looked like it was going to be close. I don't know if Ferrari would have had the pace to actually come all the way back and make the overtakes in time.
you
But that
think
safety
so?
car, you know what? I haven't got a clue. But that safety car came at literally the perfect time. It saved everything. So,
Fair. But I feel like when he moved to the mediums, like he was doing very well with overtaking. Even Charles was very kind enough to let us go. And he was catching up. And, Kimmy and George hadn't yet stopped for their second stop.
yeah,
So it was also helping. And then they had their stop and then he was ahead. I don't know where that pace came from, especially knowing that he missed FP1 and then FP2 and 3 weren't that great for him. But
yeah.
from quali, because even with his quali with George, look at how close it was. Like he was second front row, but he missed podium by a hair of it. So I
But
don't know,
yeah,
but
it's crazy because at the start of the race, once George got through turn one in the lead, he just started pulling away. He didn't even look like he was under any kind of pressure. He was just pulling away lap by lap. He got the gap to around 3 and a bit seconds.
what
And
was it? I thought it was 2.3 or it was three
no,
something.
Russell got it he got it over 3 seconds and he was just kind of chilling, really. Like he wasn't really pushing or doing anything. He seemed like everything was under control.
Mm.
So it was quite surprising how when the safe not safety car, but when the pit stops had happened, it just looked like he didn't have any pace anymore. I don't know if Russell just struggled on the hard tire or something,
I feel
but
like the soft kind of gave up a bit too quickly because at the beginning, again, Lewis, the gap wasn't that much. I mean, kudos to Russell. He had a very good start off the line, but Lewis was in the mix. I feel like the soft, because even with Max, he also had softs on at the beginning of the race, and it felt like from there they were pulling. And then having that pit stop, I feel like as soon as he changed from the softs, then he started catching up a bit. So
yeah.
I
And I
feel,
think the Mercedes messed up their strategy because
Mhm.
they started on medium, Lewis is on soft. I understand you want to so you want to protect the position, you want to make sure that Lewis can't undercut you, but you're on two different strategies. It doesn't make sense to protect that when you know that Lewis is almost
Mhm.
definitely gonna do a third stop because he started on the softs. Just
Yeah, yeah.
extend it, get your tire advantage back later on in the race. But I don't know. They looked like they panicked a bit and they just handed it to Ferrari, who, kudos to Ferrari, they actually did well because we all know that Ferrari love to mess up a good strategy. So,
Honestly, I was in shock. Like even all the pit stops were very clear, very quick. I mean, they've been doing that this year a lot, but they had the advantage at every point in terms of strategy and the cutting and whatnot. Even with when Lewis moved to the mediums, um, George wanted to come in, but then now if it was a matter of if he comes in, Kimi might be ahead, or if Kimi comes in, when Lewis had that stop, and then they battled out a bit and they lost some time. Then Kimi stopped, well, George stopped, and then now Kimi later went on the stop, and then they had that their Mercedes battle going on. That also helped a bit for Lewis to keep the distance until Kimi had that. pressure issue, and I felt so bad for it because I felt n- Kimi was not going to allow George to have the upper hand. That's how I kept like feeling because he was like, no, you're not overtaking me, and they kept going at it. And he even passed him, but then they, I guess maybe he pushed too hard, and they kind of gave up on him, and that was a bit
I don't know.
sad.
It looks like the Mercedes engine slash power unit hasn't been the most reliable. The same exact thing happened to
Mm,
Russell, didn't it, in Canada?
mm-hmm.
And we know that it's gonna come back and affect Antonelli eventually, and it did. You look at that race, and Russell's been so dominant over the whole weekend over Antonelli, and then you get into the third stint of the race, and Antonelli's just reeling him in like half a second each lap, and Russell, who's got clean air, has nothing to answer him with. And
Yeah,
even though Antonelli's didn't finish the race, Russell takes a big chunk out of Antonelli's lead over him. It must be said that Antonelli still looks like the real deal. He still looks
of
like
course.
the one
Mm,
where if he gets the luck from the car, like not misbehaving, Antonelli's going to be the one getting the big points because Antonelli
of
at one
course.
point 7 seconds behind Russell in the in that final stint, and he pulled it all back, attacked Russell, didn't get past. He had to sit back for a little bit, get his tires under control, came back at Russell, got past, and it was like Russell just had nothing to fight with. I don't
Yeah,
understand why. And even you look at when Hamilton pitted under the virtual safety car, he was only he was only just over a second ahead of Russell. I mean, yes, he's got 5 laps younger tires. He's got the fresh air. He pulled 20 seconds by the end of the race.
yeah, yeah.
That's huge. And it looks like whatever upgrades that Ferrari brought this weekend clearly worked. And Barcelona's a kind of track where if you can do it at Barcelona, you can do it pretty much anywhere because
Definitely. I agree
Barcelona's
with
got
that.
everything.
I
So
agree with that.
it's looking good. It looks like Mercedes aren't going to have their own way for this season because,
Oh,
I mean, we
definitely.
love the competition.
Uh, I'm loving how it's going, and at the end of the day, it also brings Lewis closer to the championship. Now he's 40 points away, and we are just what 7 races out of
Yeah.
22. Anything could happen. I've been saying this for some time now, and it's evident in what's happening. Another thing that like I also noticed, like this weekend or even from the previous weekend, there's been debate about Charles's brakes switching from Brempo to CR. And I feel like, what do you think about, let me even ask you first, what do you think about this whole debate? I mean, Lewis has obviously said he's comfortable with what he's been using for years now at Mercedes. He had that. Rosberg tried to switch to that, and it didn't really like suits him, and he stuck to it all this time. He said he fought for Ferrari. He spoke to Fred. He pressed on having that because last year it didn't go so well for him, especially because he was using that setup that they already have. And now they brought it for him. And since then, since Japan, he's been doing very well. So what do you think about this whole debate? I've been seeing a lot of chat on it on Twitter. And what do you
Well,
think?
my take is every driver's got their own preferences, don't they?
Mm,
Some things work for some drivers and it won't work for others. So if Charles doesn't like the new setup, that's, I mean, he's a professional. He knows what he likes. He knows what he doesn't like. But at the moment, it looks like what Lewis has got is the way forward. So even though I don't prefer that particular setup, that type of brakes, those are the better brakes. So I need to learn to use them because they're faster. If I use them, I can brake later, whatever it is. And that goes for all aspects of setting up a car. If you prefer a certain wing angle, for example, but it is evident that the other wing angle that your teammate is using is the faster setup, you just need to adapt to it
yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean you don't get many chances. You need to perform. if he wants to compete in this championship, he needs to perform. He needs to make the most of those breaks.
Hmm.
And I mean, obviously, today that wasn't really the case. It wasn't like the brakes failed or
Yeah,
he
yeah.
locked up. It was a whole different separate issue. And he did look like he was having like he had good race pace,
Hmm.
considering he started 10th. I think he was on track to finish fifth, maybe even get Norris, get fourth. Then Antonelli goes out. So he potentially could have been on the podium if it weren't for the power steering going.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, this weekend he's been doing well even with practice. He's been doing well even for quali. Aside the crash, he also had good pace. You could tell that if not for that, he probably would have been in the mix. But I don't know. It's his first week using it. I mean, he said he has been practicing with it and whatnot, and maybe he's not that comfortable. Maybe he's halfway there, but I think he should give it a try and see how it goes, at least for a few races to see. But then, if he's trying to go and mimic maybe Lewis's late braking, how he goes about his like style of driving, it's not going to really help him because it is your first time trying this type of brakes in forever. Lewis has been using it for years, so you should fix your own style, like adjust to it how you want to, not by mimicking some of Lewis's style and stuff.
I disagree because they're using the same car. If they have the same setup and Lewis is able to get more out of that setup than him, I think it makes sense to look at the data, look at how is Lewis braking. Is he applying lots of pressure early and then easing off, or is he easing into it with low pressure at the beginning and then more pressure at the end?
But it's not a style you're used to yet.
Yes,
So
but it's
isn't it better
something you
to?
have to adapt to.
Because I think they said in the crash, Lewis, one of his after race interviews, Charles tried to do that, and that was one of the factors that caused, like, the crash. Which is what I'm saying. It's something you're not yet comfortable with that setup. It's something new to you. You can't just. It's his first week using those type of bricks. It's not like he's been going at it for some
No, I think
time.
if he's blaming the brakes, I think he's just making up excuses because that
I
crash
mean,
in
then that's not
qualifying,
something new.
because that crash in qualifying, where he crashed, you're not braking there anyway. He was a bit offline, which maybe you could blame the brakes for being a bit offline, but then it's now up to you to get back onto the clean part of the track so that the car doesn't spin out or so that you don't lose traction. And he tried to power through the car sliding, and then in the end, it sent him off. It's not, uh, you can't fully blame the brakes for that.
Oh, I mean,
You
I
just,
don't think he is. That's what I'm trying to say. In the interview, Lewis talked about how he tried to do something similar to what he has been doing, and I guess it didn't work out for him in that instance. I think someone should correct me if I'm wrong. He said something within those lines from one of those after
mm,
quali interviews, and I thought, it's a new territory for you, Charles. Obviously, you want to try new things. You want to try and see if you can adjust to the style your teammates has so that you can keep up. But then when Rosberg also tried to do that, it didn't end well for him. Tried to mimic Lewis' style in terms of braking or whatnot. It didn't work for him. The brakes weren't something he was able to adjust to. So that's why I thought it would be better to start off with your style and gradually try and get used to the other stuff. Because if you're saying it's a brake issue, from the subsequent races with all that was happening, it was a matter of the brakes weren't favoring him. So switching to breaks now that you feel are favorable, why not stick to your style and see if it also works with it? And I feel like in this race, he was doing very well. He was comfortable, as you said. And I don't know, I felt for him because I thought at least he will get past like all these other cars, Norris, Verstappen, and then maybe be in the mix. But I guess it didn't work out for him that way.
one thing I wanted to circle back to is this inter-team battle between Russell and Antonelli. Because as I mentioned in the last episode, or as we spoke about, they don't have a number one driver.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Toto Wolff allows them to battle each other. And given that they've been so far ahead of everyone else, it makes sense to let them battle each other. You can't tell them that, oh yeah, you're number one, you're number two, and this is just how we're going to finish the championship. That's not fair.
Obviously,
But
it's too early to decide on that, but
yeah,
some
but
ground rules
now
should be there. No.
I think the ground rules are always there. Don't crash into your teammate. If the team tells you to hold position, hold position. The teams still haven't done that yet. And this race, you could see that Norris was getting very close. So now they're telling Russell to speed up so that Antonelli can speed up as well. Them battling each other wasn't helping in Russell trying to catch Hamilton, even though really truly he was never going to.
Mm-hmm.
But the two of them battling each other is now slowing them down, and the other cars are all there or thereabouts. If Mercedes aren't on top of their game, Ferrari, at least this weekend, have the pace to punish them for it. McLaren were almost there. So it'll be interesting to see going forward if now Toto Wolff is going to start getting more involved, start telling them to hold position and go, because that's the best way to maximize points for the
Yeah.
team. It's going to be very hard for him to do that, given that they're still both battling for the championship. But
Exactly.
that's going to be a new interesting dynamic that's going to start to unfold as we get further into the
Yeah.
season.
I feel like it's not when Kimi came, last year, that was his first year with them. He was trying to get accustomed to their way of doing things. And obviously, Russell was up ahead of him in terms of points, in terms of driving and all that. And, they hadn't yet switched to the new rules and whatnot. So they didn't really have the fastest car. But then coming into this year, they arguably have the fastest car. They are in the championship mix, and you have one driver who is leading the championship. Aside the first race, Antonelli has been winning every other race until today. So I feel like, yes, I get it. You're not trying to determine who is your number one or who is not, but at some point you have to. And their situation is not a matter of how, like maybe when Lewis and Bottas, where you can say, okay, Bottas, you're coming here to help Lewis, is given a bit of Lewis and Rosberg, or even that's even a bit of a stretch, but Lewis and Fernando when they were at McLaren, except
Hmm.
maybe George doesn't have a championship, but he's been with the team for quite some time. He was there when their most awarded driver was there and he left. Now you bring in a rookie. Obviously, you want the one who is going to win you championship. So isn't it better to just, look, at the end of the day, we want to win the championship, race fair, what not. But whoever has the advantage after quali should be the one that is prioritized. If you can't say, okay, George is number one, Kimmy's number one, it should at least be whoever is number one, who's ever ahead in quali should be prioritized. The best strategy has to go to that person to maximize the points for the team. Because if you're both going to get points for the team, that's how it should be. And if the opportunity opens, you can overtake or whatnot, obviously cleanly. But today, my heart, because I realized that when they were done, Kimi had his wing was a bit clipped, and then the whole power issue happened, and then he was out of the mix.
Maybe later on into the season, when things start to ramp up, then Mercedes will start looking at putting in those kind of ground rules. For now, it's just far too early. They're not under any
Mm-hmm.
proper
Yeah, pressure.
pressure yet from Mercedes or
But are they going to
McLaren. I
wait?
mean,
Are
from
they going to
Ferrari.
wait for them to be under pressure before you decide on that?
Well, let's see. If Hamilton were to win the next two races, being Austria and Silverstone, then maybe Mercedes will be like, hold on, we've got an actual battle on our hands now. We can't afford to be scrapping amongst ourselves.
Mm.
I think they have to wait, because you can't tell a driver that, yeah, even though you're in the best car and you've got a real opportunity of winning what you've been working for your whole life, we're going to slow you down so that your teammate can go bring it home for us. Because
Yeah,
how long has Russell been at Mercedes?
since
He's been there,
2022.
he's been there for years. He had to spend how many years in Williams waiting for his opportunity to drive in the best team. When he finally got to Mercedes, they weren't the best team. They were terrible. And they finally got the chance now where it looks like they've got the best car. He will be looking at it like he's been in Formula One for what, around 10 years now. This is his opportunity. You can't tell me to now, oh, slow down because Antonelli's ahead in the championship
But
and you
it's
want
not about
to.
how long you've been there, though, is it?
Yeah, no, but then you're looking at it from the team's perspective. I'm saying from the driver's perspective.
No, I get that. I'm looking at it from it. It's not about if you think that the opportunity is there. Again, you came into the this year with the fastest car. You are the best team currently. And somewhere, somehow, your teammates, out of 6 races, your teammates has won 5, you've won just 1. That has, and this is even with the team leaving you to battle out. Nobody's saying don't battle. Nobody's saying allow Antonelli to overtake. They've been allowed to do whatever they want. And somewhere, somehow, he's not beating his teammates.
Yeah, but then
So,
he's not going to stop. I don't think
no, I'm not saying he
if
should, but the opportunity was there and he wasn't taking it,
yes,
or
the
he wasn't
opportunity
able
was
to
there
utilize it.
and he's going to do everything he can to to get back. He's gonna if Toto sits them down and is like, the Ferraris are a real problem for us now.
Mm.
So now, after let's say 10 laps, you're not allowed to battle each other. There's no way on earth that any of those drivers are going to listen to that because they want the championship for themselves. They'll do what they can. The team will probably tell them off camera, and then they'll go out and do it again. And
I mean,
until it becomes unless Antonelli can have a huge gap, like a really big gap over Russell, where Russell's like, okay, this year I can't do it. I think they're going to continue to fight amongst each other,
I
and
don't
that
think
just
anything they say will
creates
change
opportunity.
that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's just going to create opportunities for Ferrari and potentially McLaren if they can get their act together.
I mean, I'm not complaining if we create opportunities for Ferrari, especially Lewis, but looking at it from an objective point of view, I think as a team, yes, championship are at stake, drivers championship, but also construction. And you fighting all the time, and then maybe you taking each other out, some one of you losing out on it or whatnot, it's problematic. So I'm not saying they should tell Russell that, hey, go take number 2. That's what I'm saying. Whoever out qualifies the other should be prioritized. If you both can be on the podium, that's good. But the one who has the better pace and the better advantage should be prioritized. And that's just how, in order for them to at least as a team keep beating the other teams. If not, they're going to keep having issues. For how many races now they've been battling and it's been causing issues for one or the other? And
Yeah, but
it's
they've
opening
never
room for the others.
directly caused issues for each other. It's not like they've crashed into each other
Oh,
and
of course
taken
not.
one or
But
the other
I feel
out.
like they're overworking the cars, and then they end up having these like look at Russell 2 races ago, was it Canada?
Yeah.
That battle was so intense. In the end, he just lost all his power. I won't say the power just give up. They overworked the car, in my opinion. And do they want to keep doing that every time? At some point, they are gonna crash. Yeah, they've not crashed now, but it's giving Lewis and Russell and Rosberg. You're gonna keep going and going and going and going because there are no set rules. Even with Lewis and Rosberg at the beginning, it's the same issue. There were no rules put out there. They kept battling, battling, battling. And then when the time came and they tried to let them understand, let's take it easy or whatnot, they didn't give a hell about that. They just kept going because, yeah, I want to be on top. And do they want the same thing again? That's the question they should be answering.
Yeah. I reckon I reckon they're just gonna leave it until it becomes an actual
A
problem.
problem. Okay.
For now, I think maybe Mercedes are a bit lucky that when one driver has been performing, the other hasn't quite been there. So they haven't had too many direct battles recently.
To be
And
there.
even when they have
Okay.
had a direct battle, one of their engines blows up So then it kind of just, you can kind of
Not
look at
the
it and be
not
like,
not the blow up. Come on, not
yeah.
the
I mean,
blow up.
I think the engine's blowing up or whatever, it kind of benefits, well, not benefits Mercedes, but at least it means they don't have a headache where they'll be like, oh, and you did this and you did that.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you didn't finish the race. Now, instead of battling each other, the drivers are looking at the team to give them a car that they can actually rely on. So in that regard, it kind of causes less of a headache.
I was gonna say that, at the beginning of the race, I mean at the end of the race, I was gonna say at least today there were no penalties. But then I saw that they gave Kimi a five,
Colapinto.
no, and
Oh,
Kimi
did
as
Kimi get one
well.
as well?
But I saw on Twitter, I think it was a post after the 5 second penalty. And in my mind I'm like, wait, what? Because at the end, Kimi still finished the race.
Oh, it's
He
because, is
still
it for
finished.
track limits?
Yes.
I didn't even see that.
He was still recorded as he finished ahead of Charles. So I don't know if it's going to put him behind Charles. And in my mind, I thought there were no penalties today, and I guess
Well,
that
no, because
happened
Colapinto got a 10-second penalty.
for what? I guess I was so in the
Yellow
Lewis
flag
issue, I didn't see.
infringement.
Oh,
So he was, yeah,
oh.
going too fast during the yellows. The same thing that they were investigating Lewis for. But I
Hmm.
think with Lewis, when the yellow flags came out, he was basically right at the scene of Alonso going out, so he didn't have enough time to react and slow down
Hmm.
there and then. But he
Okay.
slowed down later on in the lap to kind of make up for it. But
Yeah. Okay.
Colapinto doesn't have that same kind of excuse. So yeah, he got a penalty
I didn't
and
see that at
he
all.
dropped out of eight. I think he ended up not finishing in the points because of his penalty.
I mean, yeah, I think he was ahead of no Pierre. Gasly was ahead of him in the point. So that's so sad because one thing I also noticed today, they asked him to switch with Pierre, and he kept saying Pierre's like a second or two behind him. So why does he need to swap places? Do you think that at that time they were not in the points, obviously, but do you feel it is also okay when, as a team, you're not in the points to be asking your drivers to switch positions?
I think it's fun because at the time they're not in the points, but they're looking forward. Gasly's got the pace to go be in the points,
Mm,
and Colapinto doesn't. Obviously, for Colapinto, he'll be like, yeah, for him to let Gasly through, he has to sacrifice a lot of time because Gasly wasn't that close behind him. But then once Gasly was ahead of him, he pulled away from Colapinto anyway.
yeah.
Gasly went and put pressure on the cars ahead. In the end, it doesn't really matter because he's gone and got himself a 10-second penalty. And if he hadn't let Gasly through, he would have just held up Gasly. Gasly wouldn't have been able to go ahead and do anything anyway. So it would have just been a double jeopardy.
Mm.
So I
That's
think it
fair.
makes sense. If, let's say, they let Gasly through and they don't end up in the points, and Gasly isn't able to overtake anyone, then maybe at the end just switch them back. But
Okay.
that wasn't the case this time. Gasly was actually able to go put pressure on the people ahead. So, I mean, drivers are never going to be happy about it in the moment, but
That's fair.
when they look at it retrospectively, they'll be like, okay, fair enough. He had more pace than me. Or
Yeah.
at least a
Mm.
mature driver can do that. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So, yeah.
Fair. Okay.
But before we wrap up, we've got another race in 2 weeks in
Hmm.
Austria. This isn't a track that historically Hamilton has done well at,
Oh, that's my fear.
but
I'm not even going to lie, but okay.
Ferrari, whatever upgrades they brought, seem to be working. They've got a good car. It looks like they can actually take the battle to Mercedes.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
still expect Mercedes to be on top, but it looks like Ferrari are right there. If Mercedes don't capitalize on everything, if they're not perfect, if they're not up to their usual game, it looks like they will be challenged. So that promises to be a interesting race as well.
Very much so. I can't wait. I think Lewis will definitely be on the podium. I get it that yeah, it's not one of his best tracks, but Again, he's coming in with Ferrari this time with different upgrades. The upgrades suit him. Some of the changes and adjustments are things that he wanted and he has put in. So I'm hoping that it will help him be have an advantage and he will definitely be on the podium. Again, as I said last time, as to where he will be, I wouldn't know, but today I came in and in my heart I said, no, Lewis is going to win today, and he did. I wouldn't know until next 2 weeks, but I do know that he will definitely be on the podium, obviously with the Mercedes boys. So yeah.
Yeah, I can see that happening as well. This time I'm not going to doubt Ferrari. It looks like they've proven me wrong. Ferrari actually can
Hmm.
compete in a straight line, and Austria is a very speed sensitive track. So, yeah, maybe Ferrari can get right up there again,
Yeah.
probably challenge Mercedes, and I'm looking forward to it.
I think they should just be listening to Lewis. I feel like that's the way to go. Listening to him has been helping them, or at least his side of the garage. Again, I really want to give a big shout out to Alonso. I don't know, but he's my MVP for
I might
today.
cut this out. You need to leave him alone.
No, he's my MVP for today. Thank you so much. And until next time, this has been If the Gap Exists with Daphne and
And with Senna, thank you.
bye,
Talk to you
guys.
later. Bye.